process. Like we didn't, of course, every team is, it's a 10 team league. Like everyone has a 10% chance of winning. And it's very short league, as you guys know. The biggest thing is, focus on the process. And the thing about it is, like, you need some experience. I think we have that with Malcolm and Alain. I think that's going to carry over. But the biggest thing for me was, like this league, when I did win, was a 17 league. It was different than it is now. I mean, everyone's mostly private now. Right. Though there's some things, if you guys kind of catch my drift, there's some things that you can't control that's going on off the court. You can't worry about it. But at the same time, all we can do is focus on ourselves. And that's something that I'm really going to instill, and especially when I say ourselves, is almost a Canadian first approach. It's a Canadian league. I feel everybody wants to develop, I'm not putting down our Americans or trying to separate them, but I feel though we had Xavier Moon in Edmonton, I felt our Canadians are really what took us over the top. I felt our Canadian players were, we had a Jordan Baker who was the best rebounder in the league. I had a Dika Pierre who won 6 Man of the Year. I had guys that just understood it, had that youth sport background. I'm going to say that and put it out there. I'm not saying that NCAA is, but they didn't play a FIBA game in NCAA. I had a lot of guys that knew how to play the FIBA game. And I think that's extremely important. And I've talked to many people about it, just to kind of end on this, is like a team that's going to be here for the whole summer. That was a big part of how we're going to construct this roster. And like I say today, we're not missing anybody, and we may have a guy that's leaving for Summer League, and that's a great opportunity for him. We support that, and hopefully we'll get him ready for that. But we have a team that's going to be here day one to hopefully August 24th, and that's a big thing for us.
Alex. Coach, welcome to Montreal. So you were coached by Roy Rana back in the days. You coached with him at Ryerson. Just how big of an influence did he have on you as a player, but also as the coach that you're now?
Yeah, he's definitely not just a friend but a mentor. And something that we always talk about is being able to adapt. And even this is a totally different new situation. I mentioned the league's different, but you have to be very the coaches that do well, you have to be very adaptable and like have an identity. I think that's basketball. I was talking to basketball peers, and we're talking about like the 90s, and I was talking to Roy about that. Everyone had kind of a different style of basketball. Now you watch basketball, it looks like a carbon copy. Everyone's trying to play the same, and I think everyone in this room kind of understands that. So he's always said to me, like, be adaptable and be true to yourself and what you believe. Like, make tweak it a little bit, but stay to who you are and try to just be who you are and recruit players around that, and just take it day by day.
And how do you see yourself work with Alain, a guy who's been here since day one?
Yeah, I've had a relationship with him prior to this. I've seen and followed his career at Carleton, and obviously I think it goes without saying that a lot of success. With Alain, what I'm really going to rely on is his experience. He's played it, he started in this league, he's been a backup in this league, and with me, for him, I know there's a sense of pride there because this is where he's from. And I, even though I'm not born here, I had that sense of pride here, having family and friends, and obviously been going to Vandy for years. So that's where we relate, and I think we could definitely build on that and just make sure that he's healthy and ready to go and ready to lead.
Okay, you have experience in this league. I was just wondering, how tough is it to get the team ready in just 10 days before the first game?
So it's funny you asked that. I was known in Edmonton for having the shortest training camps. Practice is fun, and you have to work on things, but you don't know what you have until you play in a game. Because there's different emotional levels, there's a crowd, practice, we don't have that crowd. So it's our job in practice to make it game-like as possible, but for me, like, after 5-6 days, I want to get to the game and see what we have. So some people think it's short. I think for us, there's a lot of new pieces, but the fact that everyone's here, I think it's, and I said to them last night, like, the most connected groups are going to win, and I think connecting off the courts is extremely important. But I'm not too worried about how it's not enough time. That's not how I kind of view it. It's just making the most of your days.
Do you see it as a challenge to have only 2 players who have CBL experience?
I wouldn't call it a challenge. I think it's exciting. And because for me, like knowing this is a development league and we want to develop players to get to the next level, whatever that is for them, I think sometimes it's good to have more new players in this league, because I think if you bring back players that have, that the league knows, I feel that the scout's a lot easier. I think people are more familiar, and I think it just having new faces brings a different energy, right? And I think that we're definitely going to have that with all the new pieces here. I know the guys are here for the right reasons, and they're excited about it. But I think with Alan and Malcolm, I think combined it's 9 years experience, CBL experience. I think we're in good hands, and especially with my experience as well.
Of course, clutchness is something that just people have, but with the nature of this league and having so many new players in, is there something to be taught about being clutch and about finishing those games in Elam?
Yeah, I was talking to my staff about it, like, I kind of just took a poll, like, what's been your guys' experience with Elam? It's one of those things you can prepare for in practice. You can play Elam games in practice and try to help them there, but at the same time, it's something that you just got to go through. And I've always said it, like, yes, it's a 9-point thing, doesn't mean you need 3 threes, right? You could score, if you have to score 90, you can score 91 and win the game. And I think it's just a matter of, having almost an Elam mindset at the start of the fourth quarter, instead of just that when they take away the time. I think it's just the mindset, and like I said, we will practice it, but at the same time, I think until they go through it and know it, I think that's just the best way to learn from it and experience it.
Coach, just 2 questions. Look, as Dwight said, you have great pedigree in this league. What sold you on this Montreal project to commit yourself to this team with the new ownership and Joel running the show?
Yeah, two things is, you said his name is Joel. So I played against him when I was at Vandy. He's at Dawson. So we and we have a lot of mutual friends, especially him playing Canada basketball, and one of my best friends, he's played Canada basketball as well. So we've always been in contact and in touch. And then the second biggest thing is whenever I've come here to watch a game, I love it. I think it's the perfect size. I think how kind of intimate and how engaged the fans are. I think that the fans, of course, they want to win, but they're engaged. There's an expectation there, and I embrace those things. I think I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to win a championship, because I don't know what's going to happen to that point. But at the same time, it's going to be a team that we're proud of, and a team that we can, just give it their all every game, and those types of things, and the new vision as well that Joel and I have kind of created. That made me excited and want to take the job.
And lastly, first 5 games for divisional matchups. How important is it to get that start and have that strong record after 5 games going towards the next one?
Great question. No, it's massive, especially when you look at Brampton. We play 3 times, because we know, from my experience, we know at the end, if that could be hosting a playoff game, that could be getting knocked out, that could be getting a berth right to the Final Four. So those matchups, and there's some rivalry to it for me. Those matchups are huge right off the bat, and that's another reason we wanted our team here from the very beginning, because we want to get off to a good start, and come July, hopefully we're peaking and everyone knows their role and everyone knows Elam knows them much better, and then we go from there.
Wins have been hard to come by for this franchise the last few years, and you come with the winning pedigree. And I don't want to say you feel any pressure to maybe bring them to the next level, but do you feel any pressure to bring them to the next level?
Pressure put on myself, of course. That comes, I think, with coaching. Of course, we want to win. Otherwise, what happened in the past is the past. I can't go back and change it here. I thought, I got to know Coach Austin. He's a great guy. I thought he was a good coach. I think we're just different philosophies, like whatnot. But for me, it's going to be like just taking it game by game. I'm not going to promise a championship. Process is the biggest thing, and I feel like wherever we land at the end, we land at the end. But pressure, I embrace it. In all honesty, it doesn't bother me. It's not something that I'm going to shy away from. I think, like I said, I put a lot of pressure on myself, and the guys will have expectation, and I think we go from there.
Just to rebound on the Elam ending, Winnipeg hiring Nick Elam, do that. Just your thoughts on it, and do that give them some advantage?
Advantage. I wouldn't say it gives them a disadvantage. Does it give them an advantage? I think time will reveal. You talk about pressure. I think they got pressure when you host You know, when we won in 2020, we hosted, and that, you know, you're working up the whole year, and it's like, you know, you're playing at the end, right? But those 2 games mattered. So I think it's not a disadvantage, but I think he's just searching out ways to make sure that he's ready at the end, and I can't blame him for that.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, I appreciate it.